Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the English Nexus Podcast. I'm Michael, and I'm here with my co-host, Jennifer. How are you doing today, Jennifer?
Hi, Michael. I'm doing great. Thanks for asking. And hello to all our amazing listeners out there. We're so happy you've joined us today.
Before we dive into today's episode, if you're new here, welcome. And if you're a returning listener, thank you so much for coming back. Don't forget to like this video, share it with your friends who are learning English, and leave a comment below telling us where you're watching from.
Yes, we love hearing from you. Your comments really motivate us to keep creating content. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss an episode.
Absolutely. Today we have a really practical and useful topic for you. We're going to talk about daily routines in English. This is perfect for beginners because talking about your daily routine is something you'll do all the time when speaking English.
That's right. Whether you're making new friends, talking to colleagues at work, or just having a casual conversation, people often ask about your daily routine. So today, we're going to teach you all the vocabulary and phrases you need to talk about what you do every day.
So Jennifer, why don't we start by talking about our own daily routines? That way our listeners can hear natural examples of how to describe their day.
That's a great idea, Michael. Let me start. So, I usually wake up at 6:30 in the morning. My alarm goes off, and honestly, the first thing I do is hit the snooze button.
I do the same thing. So Jennifer, when you say wake up, that's the moment when you stop sleeping and open your eyes, right?
Exactly. Wake up is a very important phrasal verb. We use it every day. For example, I wake up at 7 o'clock, or what time do you wake up? It's one of the first things we learn when talking about daily routines.
And you mentioned the alarm goes off. That's another useful expression. When an alarm goes off, it means it starts ringing or making noise. So your alarm clock goes off at 6:30.
Yes. And then after I finally get out of bed, which takes me about 10 minutes because I love sleeping, I go to the bathroom. I brush my teeth, wash my face, and take a shower.
Those are all essential morning activities. Let's break those down for our listeners. Brush your teeth means to clean your teeth with a toothbrush. Wash your face means to clean your face with water and maybe soap. And take a shower means to wash your whole body under running water.
Perfect explanation, Michael. And I want to point out that we say take a shower, not make a shower. This is a common mistake. We take a shower, we take a bath. It's an important collocation to remember.
Great point. So, Jennifer, after you take a shower, what do you do next?
Well, then I get dressed. I usually spend about 15 minutes deciding what to wear. I check the weather on my phone first so I know if I need a jacket or not.
Get dressed is another important phrase. It means to put your clothes on. And Jennifer, do you have breakfast after you get dressed?
Yes, I do. I always have breakfast. It's the most important meal of the day, right? I usually have coffee, toast with butter, and sometimes a banana or an apple. What about you, Michael? What do you have for breakfast?
Well, I'm a coffee person too. I can't start my day without coffee. I usually have cereal with milk and a cup of coffee. Sometimes I have eggs and toast if I have more time.
Nice. So listeners, when we talk about meals, we use the verb have. We say, I have breakfast, I have lunch, I have dinner. You can also say eat breakfast or eat lunch, but have is more common and natural.
Exactly. Now, after breakfast, I get ready for work. I pack my bag, check that I have everything I need, my phone, my wallet, my keys, and then I leave the house.
What time do you usually leave the house, Michael?
I leave at around 8 o'clock. I try to leave early to avoid the traffic. How about you, Jennifer? How do you get to work?
I take the bus to work. The bus stop is just 5 minutes from my house, which is really convenient. The journey takes about 25 minutes. Do you drive to work?
Yes, I drive. It takes me about 30 minutes if the traffic isn't too bad. Sometimes it takes longer, maybe 45 minutes when there's a lot of traffic.
Oh, that's quite a long commute. Let's explain some vocabulary here. Commute means your journey from home to work or from work to home. So we can say, my commute is 30 minutes, or I have a long commute.
Right. And we can use different verbs depending on how you travel. You can drive to work, take the bus to work, take the train, ride a bike, or even walk to work if you live close to your workplace.
Those are all really useful. Now, Michael, what time do you usually arrive at work?
I usually arrive at 8:30. Then I start work at 9 o'clock. The first thing I do is check my emails and make a to-do list for the day.
That's very organized. I do something similar. When I get to the office, I turn on my computer, check my calendar to see what meetings I have, and then I check my emails too.
So listeners, notice that we say arrive at work, not arrive to work. This is important. We use arrive at for specific places. For example, I arrive at the office. I arrive at school. I arrive at the station.
Good point. Now let's talk about what happens during the workday. Michael, when do you usually have your lunch break?
I have lunch at 1 o'clock. It's a 1-hour break. Sometimes I bring lunch from home, like a sandwich or leftovers from dinner, and sometimes I go to a restaurant or a cafe near the office.
I have lunch at 12:30. I prefer to eat a bit earlier. I usually bring lunch from home because it's cheaper and healthier, plus I can control what I eat.
That's smart. So everyone, lunch break is the time during the workday when you stop working to eat lunch. Most people have a 30-minute to 1-hour lunch break.
And leftovers. That's the food that remains after a meal. For example, if you make pasta for dinner and you don't eat all of it, you can save it and eat it for lunch the next day. Those are leftovers.
Exactly. So Jennifer, what time do you finish work?
I usually finish at 5 o'clock. Sometimes I work a bit later, maybe until 5:30 or 6, if I have a lot of work to do. But I try to leave on time most days. What about you?
I finish at 5:30, but like you said, sometimes I stay later. It depends on how much work I have. Then I drive home, and I usually get home at around 6 or 6:15.
So your evening routine starts at 6:15? What do you usually do when you get home, Michael?
Well, the first thing I do is change my clothes. I take off my work clothes and put on something more comfortable, like jeans and a t-shirt or sweatpants.
Yes, change clothes means to take off what you're wearing and put on different clothes. And take off means to remove clothes, while put on means to wear clothes. These are opposite phrasal verbs.
Great explanation. After I change, I usually relax for a bit. I might watch TV, read the news on my phone, or just sit on the couch. Then I start preparing dinner.
Oh, you cook dinner? That's great. What time do you usually have dinner?
I have dinner at around 7:30 or 8 o'clock. I like to cook, so I usually make something at home. What about you, Jennifer? Do you cook dinner every day?
Not every day. Some days I cook, and some days I'm too tired, so I order food or just make something simple like a salad or pasta. When I do cook, I usually make dinner around 7 o'clock.
That's understandable. Cooking every day can be tiring, especially after a long day at work. So listeners, let's review some useful phrases about food. We can say cook dinner, make dinner, prepare dinner. These all mean the same thing.
And if you don't cook, you can order food. That means you call a restaurant or use an app to have food delivered to your home. You can also eat out, which means to eat at a restaurant instead of at home.
Perfect. So after dinner, what do you do in the evening?
After dinner, I usually do the dishes. That's washing all the plates, cups, forks, and knives you used for cooking and eating. Then I have some free time to relax.
Do the dishes or wash the dishes. Both are correct. And what do you do to relax, Jennifer?
It depends on the day. Sometimes I watch Netflix or other streaming services. I love watching series and movies. Sometimes I read a book or listen to music. And I always try to call my family or friends to chat for a while.
Those are all great ways to relax. I do similar things. I also like to watch TV shows, especially documentaries or sports. Sometimes I play video games or just browse the internet.
Do you exercise in the evening, Michael?
Sometimes I try to exercise 3 or 4 times a week. I usually go to the gym or go for a run in the park, but I prefer to exercise in the morning before work when I have time. What about you?
I do yoga at home in the evening. I have a yoga mat and I follow yoga videos online. It helps me relax and sleep better. I try to do it at least 3 times a week.
That's wonderful. Exercise is so important for our health. So, listeners, there are many ways to say you exercise. You can say work out, exercise, go to the gym, do yoga, go running, go jogging, or play sports.
Exactly. Now, let's talk about bedtime routines. Michael, what time do you usually go to bed?
I try to go to bed at around 11 or 11:30. I know I should go to bed earlier, but I'm a bit of a night owl. Before I go to bed, I brush my teeth again, wash my face, and sometimes I read for a few minutes.
Night owl. That's a great expression. It means someone who likes to stay up late at night. The opposite is early bird, which means someone who likes to wake up early in the morning.
That's right. Are you a night owl or an early bird, Jennifer?
I'm more of an early bird. I go to bed at around 10 or 10:30 because I wake up early. I need at least 7 or 8 hours of sleep to feel good the next day.
That's healthy. Getting enough sleep is very important. So, before bed, what's your bedtime routine?
Well, first I brush my teeth and wash my face, just like you. Then I set my alarm for the next morning. I also like to check my schedule for the next day so I know what to expect. And finally, I turn off the lights and go to sleep.
Perfect. So, let's review some important phrases about going to bed. We say go to bed to talk about the time you get into bed. We say fall asleep to talk about when you actually start sleeping. And we say go to sleep, which can mean both things.
Good distinction. For example, I went to bed at 11, but I didn't fall asleep until midnight. That means you were in bed at 11, but you couldn't sleep until midnight.
Exactly. Now, we've covered a typical workday routine. But what about weekends? Jennifer, is your weekend routine different from your weekday routine?
Oh, yes, very different. On weekends, I wake up much later, usually around 9 or 9:30. I don't set an alarm. I just wake up naturally when my body is ready.
That sounds nice. I do the same thing. Weekends are for relaxing and sleeping in. Sleep in means to wake up later than usual. It's a great feeling.
It really is. On Saturday mornings, I usually have a big breakfast. I make pancakes or eggs and bacon, something special that I don't have time to make during the week. Then I might go grocery shopping or run errands.
Run errands is a useful phrase. It means to do small tasks outside the house, like going to the bank, buying groceries, going to the post office, or picking up dry cleaning.
Yes, and in the afternoon on weekends, I like to meet friends. We might go to a cafe for coffee, go shopping, or go to the movies. Sometimes we just hang out at someone's house and chat.
Hang out is a very common and casual phrase. It means to spend time with friends in a relaxed way. You're not doing anything specific, just enjoying each other's company.
Exactly. What do you usually do on weekends, Michael?
Well, on Saturday mornings, I usually clean my apartment. I vacuum the floors, do the laundry, and tidy up. It's not the most fun activity, but it needs to be done.
That's responsible. Do the laundry means to wash your clothes, and tidy up or clean up means to organize things and make your space neat and clean.
Right. Then in the afternoon, I like to do something fun. Maybe I go hiking if the weather's nice, or I visit a museum, or I go to a sporting event. I like to stay active on weekends.
That sounds great. And what about Sunday? Do you have a different routine on Sunday?
Sunday is my relaxation day. I usually wake up late, have a slow breakfast, and then I don't do much. I might watch movies all day, or I might meet friends for lunch. In the evening, I prepare for the week ahead.
Prepare for the week ahead? What does that involve?
Well, I check my calendar to see what meetings and appointments I have next week. I might do some meal prep. That means preparing food in advance for the week. And I make sure my clothes are clean and ready for work.
That's very organized. Meal prep is becoming really popular. It saves so much time during the busy work week.
It really does. So, listeners, we've covered a lot of vocabulary and phrases today. Let's do a quick review of some key expressions related to daily routines.
Great idea. Let's start with morning routines. We have wake up, get out of bed, brush your teeth, wash your face, take a shower, get dressed, have breakfast, and leave the house.
Perfect. And for talking about work, we have go to work, arrive at work, start work, have a lunch break, finish work, and go home or get home.
For evening routines, we have change clothes, relax, cook dinner or make dinner, eat dinner or have dinner, do the dishes, watch TV, and exercise or work out.
And for bedtime, we have brush your teeth, wash your face, go to bed, fall asleep, and sleep.
Don't forget about the time expressions. These are really important when talking about your daily routine. We can say in the morning, in the afternoon, in the evening, at night.
Yes, and we use at with specific times. For example, I wake up at 7 o'clock. I have lunch at 12:30. I go to bed at 11.
We also use frequency adverbs to talk about how often we do things. These include always, usually, often, sometimes, rarely, and never. For example, I always have coffee in the morning, or I sometimes go to the gym after work.
Those are so useful. Where do we put these adverbs in the sentence, Jennifer?
Great question. We usually put them before the main verb. For example, I usually wake up at 7. I often eat lunch at my desk. I never skip breakfast. But with the verb to be, we put the adverb after it. For example, I am always tired in the morning.
Excellent explanation. Now let's give our listeners some practice. We're going to ask some questions about daily routines, and we want you to pause the video and answer them out loud. This will help you practice speaking.
Ready? Here's the first question. What time do you usually wake up on weekdays?
Pause the video and answer out loud. Okay, next question. How do you get to work or school?
Good. Next question. What do you usually have for breakfast?
Great. Here's another one. What time do you usually have lunch?
Perfect. Now try this. What do you do to relax in the evening?
Excellent. One more. What time do you usually go to bed?
Wonderful. If you answered all those questions, you're already talking about your daily routine in English. It's that simple.
Now, let's talk about how to ask other people about their daily routines. This is important for conversations. Jennifer, what are some common questions we can ask?
Well, you can start with simple questions like, what time do you wake up? Or when do you start work? You can also ask, what do you usually do on weekends? Or how do you spend your free time?
Those are all great questions. You can also ask more specific questions like, do you exercise regularly? Or do you cook at home or eat out? Or what do you do before bed?
And if you want to know more details, you can use follow-up questions. For example, if someone says, I go to the gym, you can ask, how often do you go? Or what kind of exercises do you do?
Exactly. Asking follow-up questions shows you're interested in the conversation, and it helps you practice more English. It's a great way to improve your speaking skills.
Now, let's practice with a full conversation. I'll ask Michael about his daily routine, and you can listen to how the conversation flows naturally. Ready, Michael?
Ready. Go ahead, Jennifer.
So, Michael, tell me about your typical weekday. What time do you wake up?
I usually wake up at 6:30, but sometimes I sleep until 7 if I'm really tired.
That's quite early. Do you exercise in the morning?
Not usually. I prefer to exercise in the evening after work. In the morning, I just want to have my coffee and get ready for work.
I understand. So, what time do you leave for work?
I leave at 8 o'clock. My commute takes about 30 minutes, so I arrive at the office around 8:30.
And what about lunch? Do you bring lunch from home or buy it?
It depends. Usually I bring lunch from home, but on Fridays I like to go out with my colleagues. We try different restaurants near the office.
That sounds nice. And after work, what do you usually do?
Well, I get home around 6:15. Then I change into comfortable clothes, relax for a bit, and start making dinner around 7.
Do you watch TV in the evening?
Yes, usually after dinner. I watch the news or a series on Netflix. Sometimes I read instead if I have a good book.
And what time do you go to bed?
I try to go to bed at 11, but sometimes I stay up later if I'm watching something interesting.
Okay, listeners, did you notice how natural that conversation was? We used all the vocabulary and phrases we learned today, and it flowed like a real conversation between friends.
Exactly. That's how you talk about daily routines in English. It's natural, casual, and uses simple present tense most of the time.
Speaking of grammar, let's quickly talk about the simple present tense. This is the main tense we use when talking about routines and habits. We use it for things we do regularly.
Right. For example, I wake up at 7. This is something I do every day, so we use simple present. The structure is subject plus verb, base form. For third person singular, he, she, it, we add s to the verb. For example, he wakes up at 7. She goes to work at 8.
And remember, with some verbs, we add es instead of just s. For example, watch becomes watches, go becomes goes, do becomes does.
Great point. And for negative sentences, we use don't or doesn't plus the base form of the verb. For example, I don't wake up early on weekends, or she doesn't eat breakfast.
And for questions, we use do or does at the beginning. For example, do you exercise regularly? Or does he drive to work?
Perfect explanation, Jennifer. Now, we want to give you some homework. Yes, homework, but don't worry, it's fun homework.
For your homework, we want you to write about your daily routine in the comments below. Use the vocabulary and phrases we learned today. Tell us what time to wake up, what you do during the day, and what time you go to bed.
And don't worry about making mistakes. Making mistakes is part of learning. We read all the comments and we love seeing you practice your English.
Also, try to find a friend or family member and ask them about their daily routine in English. Practice makes perfect.
Before we finish, let's talk about some common mistakes people make when talking about daily routines. First, remember to use the correct prepositions. We say at with specific times, on with days, and in with parts of the day.
For example, at 7 o'clock, on Monday, in the morning. This is really important. Also, remember that we say go to bed, not go to the bed, and we say go to work, not go to the work.
Another common mistake is using the wrong verb. Remember, we have breakfast, lunch, and dinner. We take a shower, not make a shower. We do the dishes, not make the dishes.
And don't forget about word order. In English, adverbs of frequency usually go before the main verb. So it's I usually wake up at 7, not I wake up usually at 7.
These are small details, but they make your English sound much more natural. Practice these and you'll sound like a native speaker in no time.
Now, we want to remind you one more time. Please like this video if you found it helpful. It really helps us reach more English learners like you.
And share this video with your friends, classmates, or anyone you know who is learning English. Sharing is caring.
Don't forget to subscribe to the English Nexus podcast and turn on notifications.
And leave a comment below. Tell us where you're from, what your daily routine is like, or what topics you want us to cover in future episodes. We love hearing from you. Before we go, let's do a final quick review. Today we learned how to talk about daily routines in English. We covered morning routines, work routines, evening routines, and bedtime routines.
We learned important vocabulary like wake up, get dressed, have breakfast, go to work, have lunch, finish work, cook dinner, relax, and go to bed.
We also learned useful time expressions and frequency adverbs like always, usually, often, sometimes, rarely, and never.
And we practiced how to ask questions about daily routines and how to have a natural conversation about this topic.
Remember, talking about your daily routine is one of the most common conversations you'll have in English. Whether you're traveling, working, studying, or making new friends, this topic will come up again and again.
So practice using these phrases every day. Try to think in English about your daily routine. When you wake up, think, I'm waking up now, or I'm getting out of bed. When you have breakfast, think, I'm having breakfast. This will help you become more comfortable with these expressions.
That's excellent advice, Jennifer. Thinking in English is one of the best ways to improve your fluency.
Absolutely. And don't be afraid to make mistakes. Every mistake is a learning opportunity. The more you practice, the better you'll get.
Well, I think that's all we have time for today. Thank you so much for watching the English Nexus podcast. We hope you learned something useful today.
Yes, thank you for spending time with us. Remember to like, share, subscribe, and comment. We'll see you in the next episode.
Until next time, keep practicing your English and have a great day.
Goodbye, everyone.
Bye.